on Satanta in the next half hour or so. Let's hear from Khan's trainer, though, Freddie Roach, who also looks after Manny Pacquiao. So who is next for Manny Pacquiao? Mayweather, Cotto or Mosley?
I think the Mayweather-Marquez fight wasn't selling, so I think that's why he got a rib all of a sudden, and I think he'll go after Pacquiao. But the thing is, he can't fight till next year right now, so it looks like Pacquiao is going to fight Cotto on November 14th, and that's what I'm looking at right now. Mosley's making a little bit of noise, and they're making a big offer, but I think the right fight is Mayweather because I feel he's the easiest of the three, but since he's not available, I think Cotto's the next one in line, and so I think Manny will fight Cotto on the November 14th.
Mayweather would be the one that the general public would probably go for as well, do you reckon?
Everyone in the world wants to see that fight, but I really, really, truly believe that Mayweather doesn't want to fight Pacquiao because that's why he chose Marquez. And he's always ducked fighters. He used to duck Margarita, now he's ducking Manny, and he says he doesn't duck people, but it's pretty obvious.
And what about Amir? You mentioned up there that you think he might become the next British champion. There's a bit of a vacuum now, perhaps, and he could step into it.
Definitely, it's great timing for him. When I took him over 9 months ago, the Prescott fight, everyone thought he was ruined and done. He made a fundamental mistake, and he paid for it. And he's a great athlete, and he's a great fighter. And I think he's the next superstar here. I think he has great potential, and right now at 140 pounds, there's great opponents, and nothing's easy in life, of course, just like this fight with Kotelnik. I know this is not an easy fight, though, but we're going to be ready for him, and I truly feel we'll knock him out, and then we'll knock Marquez out, and Morales wants to make a comeback, too, and we'll take him, too. I mean, I told him, I said, you're going to be the next Mexican assassin.
And finally, you've seen the best at the moment with Pacquiao. Where's Amir? How does he compare?
Well, when they spar together, it's real competitive. I mean, it's just like I see it like a cockfight because they're both so high-strung and they go after each other. It's just they explode with each other, and it's just great work. Some days Amir gets the best of Manny. Some days Manny gets the best of Amir. Manny's a little bit too experienced for him right now, and I know people would like to see them fight each other, but that's not going to happen because I won't let it. So, the thing is, they're very competitive, though. The thing is, I expect Mir to be my next world champion, and I expect big things from him.
That's Freddie Roach, Amir Khan's trainer. He's predicting Amir to be his next champion. He's also looking after Manny Pacquiao. So let's discuss, chaps, a little bit about what's going on around Pacquiao now. There's an abundance of quality fighters, Steve, isn't there? Cotto, Mayweather, Khan, Mosley. They all want him. Pacquiao, basically, it seems he can just choose who he wants and which course he wants to go down.
Well, it depends on how much of a percentage drop on the take Pacquiao's prepared to take. So, for instance, if he gets a fight with Floyd Mayweather, Mayweather started off demanding, I think, 75% of the purse. He's now dropped to like 73%. So Bob Arum said that's absurd. He's not even worth parity. If he fights a guy called Mosley, Shane Mosley, great guy, recently had a brilliant win over a guy called Margarito. If he fights Mosley, then Pacquiao ends up with the lion's share of the money. But really, it's only a tread in water fight, and plus Mosley's very big and he could expose him. He's technically brilliant as well. He twice beat Oscar De La Hoya. The fight that looks like it's made for some time in November, if I'm not mistaken, Mick, is the fight between Cotto, Miguel Angel Cotto, who won 10 days ago in New York against Joshua Clottey from Ghana. A great fight that was too. Cotto and Pacquiao, in theory's made. Now this is a fight that's easy to make because Bob Arum, who promotes both fighters, advises both fighters. So I'm assuming that fight's made at 51-49, which is what my understanding of what happened with the Ricky Hatton fight, Mike. That's my gut feeling.
Yeah, and there's word in the States that Cotto might be prepared to take even less than that. And November the 14th is the date they're talking about. Bob Arum says that he's hoping to have the fight signed and sealed within a week from now. And another issue is the weight. Apparently they've agreed on 10 stone 5, and now the welterweight limit is 10 stone 7, but they're saying that still Cotto's WBO world title could be at stake. So there's all sorts of deals being done here in and around the fight, but November 14 is looking strong. Having said that, Mosley was talking just a month or so ago about his fight against Pacquiao being set for October the 17th. So as we saw with Hatton against Pacquiao, Pacquiao is a hard taskmaster when it comes to bargaining for shares of the purse. So we wait till this one is signed and on paper before looking forward to it.
Mike, do you think there's anything in the sort of suggestions and rumours that Mayweather called off the Marquez fight with a bad elbow back or whatever, slightly light pocket, I heard. Do you think there's any suggestion that he's trying to get to Pacquiao before Mosley outboxes him, before possibly Cotto catches him with a shot? Do you think there's a suggestion that poor little Marquez, Manuel Marquez, one of the greatest Mexicans of all time, he could get lost here? He ends up in the dustbin. He's the forgotten man of this little
I can see how the conspiracy theorists are getting to work here, but I also think that Mayweather would want another fight before coming straight back to fight against Manny Pacquiao, because if that was to happen, for example, in November, and it's clear that Pacquiao's not going to be ready to fight until October, November, well, that means that Mayweather's been out of the ring for
23
the
months.
best part of 2 years, and I don't think that he'd go straight into a fight as big as Pacquiao.
What about Cotto? Where is Cotto now? Is he back to where he was after that defeat against Margarito?
Well, one of the best things that happened to Cotto was the fact that Margarito has since been banned for a year because a sort of an illegal substance was found embedded into his the bandages that all boxers wear legally. It's been loosely described as a form of plaster of Paris, which in theory hardened as the rounds and the rounds progressed and the sweat built up inside the small gloves. And I think the fact that Margarito was banned after the Mosley fight, which was a great win by Mosley. After the fact he was bad, so you sort of feel like Cotto's had a new lease of life, because in Cotto's eyes, I'm sure, he's actually said in interviews in New York before and after the fight last week, he actually said that he feels like he's unbeaten. He's put the Margarito thing behind him. And one thing we've forgotten here, George, is Margarito's coming back. He's not banned for life. It's only a year ban. Margarito will fight probably in Mexico. Again, he's promoted by Bob Arum. Bob's got everything under control here. He fights for Bob Arum in probably Mexico before the end of the year, and he's straight back in the mix. And he's got some unfinished business. He wants to get revenge over Mosley. That's a mega fight, a monster fight. And then he wants to go at Cotto again. Cotto want to go at him again in a fight that I think will become the second biggest grossing fight of all time. Expect that possibly in November of next year. And that's how far people look ahead. Good promoters look ahead that far. They're looking at not 6 months, not 12 months, but often 18 months down the line.
And I think that where Cotto is at the moment, I think he's lost a bit of the luster that he had at light welterweight. A lot of people believe he's better at welterweight because he carries the weight better. But I think that there is a vulnerability about him, and I think that's a big seller. And I think Cotto, against any of those names that we've been mentioning, is a big fight, is a good fight. I can't see Cotto against any of those names that we've mentioned, whether it's Mayweather or Pacquiao, being in a bad fight.
Terrific victory at the weekend.